The reason deoxygenated blood is blue is because it lacks oxygen. The reason oxygenated blood is red is because it is oxygen-rich. The superior vena cava receives deoxygenated blood from the head, neck, upper limbs, and chest, while the inferior vena cava receives oxygenated blood from the trunk and the lower limbs. As blood enters the right atrium, which is one of the 4 chambers of the heart, not only does the heart have 4 chambers, it also has 4 valves. The purpose of the valves is to keep blood moving in the direction that it is supposed to and not allow it to flow backwards. As deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium, it then flows through the tricuspid valve. The tricuspid valve is called this because it has 3 flaps and enters the right ventricle. When the right ventricle is full of deoxygenated blood, the tricuspid valve shuts to prevent blood from flowing backwards into the right atrium. The blood then exits the right ventricle through the pulmonary valve, which is then pumped into the pulmonary trunk that divides into the right and left pulmonary arteries. We know it's an artery because the blood is flowing away from the heart. The pulmonary arteries transport the deoxygenated blood to air sacs in the lungs, where it discards carbon dioxide and picks up oxygen. The oxygen-rich blood then flows back to the heart through the pulmonary veins and entering the left atrium. As the oxygen-rich blood pumps into the left ventricle through the open mitral valve, just like the tricuspid valve, the mitral valve shuts to prevent blood from flowing backwards into the left atrium. Finally, the oxygenated blood leaves the left ventricle through the aortic semilunar valve, then entering the ascending aorta up to the aortic arch, where it takes a sharp U-turn and passes downward. Posterior of the heart, the aorta then travels through the thorax and abdominal cavities, where it eventually issues into smaller arteries that lead to organs before branching out to limbs. After circulating the body, the now deoxygenated systematic blood returns to the right side of the heart by using the superior and inferior vena cava. Now that we understand how the blood flows, how do the atrioventricular valves know when to shut? Well, the AV valves have cusps of numerous rope-like cords that connect to the underside of the valve and are anchored at the floor of each ventricle chamber by the papillary muscles. Those cords are known as tendinous cords. So then how does the semilunar valves know when to open and close also? The semilunar valves located in the 2 ventricle chambers also have cusps that part when the blood pushes on them from below to escape the ventricle chambers. It then closes when blood is pushed from above.